Super Special 11 and Shannon's story both mention problems with the Kilborn parents. A lot of readers thought this was foreshadowing for a divorce in the next Shannon book. This is the next Shannon book. It came out a little over 3 years after Shannon's story. That's such a long time gap that I think the authors forgot about the divorce storyline. So Shannon's parents now have a totally solid marriage without any problems. Continuity!
Argo Funk Book Review. Argo Funk Book Review.
This book was written by Ellen Miles. Shannon is extra busy because she's auditioning for a play and planning a big dance with all 3 middle schools. Shannon's parents are also busy. Dad has a big legal case while Mom's getting a degree. Since they're all out of the house a lot, they need a regular sitter. Kristy is the narrator, so she gets the job. Tiffany is 11 and Maria is 8. I think Tiffany could watch Maria by herself. Jessie's 11, and she watches her 8-year-old sister all the time. I guess Tiffany isn't as mature as Mallory and Jessie. Tiffany and Maria are both bummed out because Shannon's too busy to spend any time with them. Kristy and the girls make a list of nice things they can do for Shannon. Only they screw up every time. They try to do Shannon's chores, but they lose the dog. They try to clean her room, but the vacuum breaks. They do her homework wrong, and they leave a huge mess for Shannon to clean after making snickerdoodle cookies. By the way, their snickerdoodle recipe calls for raisins and walnuts. I checked, those are definitely not snickerdoodles. Maria and Tiffany decide they're through being nice to Shannon, now they're gonna be mean. They declare a sister war and vow to make Shannon's life miserable. They do annoying things, like mess up the entries in her day planner and say her name over and over and over again. Both of these chapters have 4 2-page scenes, with each scene covering a different prank that occurred on a different day. I think that worked well. I don't think it works as well when the author uses the same framing device for investigation chapters in the Babysitter's Club mystery books. Claudia writes a club notebook entry with a lot of blank space as she introduces the babysitting subplot. The elementary school kids want to have a big dance, just like the middle schoolers. A bunch of kids get together and make plans. There's a fair amount of fighting and a vague sense of unease over whether or not you have to bring dates to the dance. Abby institutes a no dating rule, which makes everyone happy. Speaking of dates, Claudia tries to set Kristy up with a guy named Steve. He's buddies with Claudia's boyfriend, Mark. Claudia takes Kristy to the mall for shopping and a makeover. Claudia has the time of her life, while Kristy hates it.
And when I opened my eyes, the nightmare didn't end. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I saw a 35-year-old woman who looked as if she should be reporting the 7 o'clock news.
Kristy's date with Steve is a disaster. It turns out Steve is not a fan of sports. He's a fan of sports memorabilia. So, he likes baseball cards, but hates baseball. It's a weird combination of hobbies, huh? Steve mostly ignores Kristy and takes her to the wrong movie. Kristy decides she'll go to the dance alone. I bet Bart Taylor spent the entire dance watching Kristy from across the gym with tears of regret in his eyes. Shannon's sisters pull more pranks on her. They dye her hair, shrink her sweater, and dump raspberry jello on her head. The breaking point comes when they put cooked spaghetti in Shannon's backpack. Shannon's ready to scream at her sisters. Kristy calms Shannon down. Shannon confesses she's overwhelmed with all her activities, and she realizes her sisters are only acting out because they love her and want her attention. There's a planning meeting for the middle school dance. This is a mirrored storyline. The kids from the different schools are all fighting instead of cooperating, just like the Kilborns are all fighting instead of cooperating. Kristy reminds everyone that dances should be fun. How? She plays awesome music and everyone dances for a half hour. I thought it was a little weird for Kristy to solve her problems with an impromptu dance party, but hey, it worked. Maria and Tiffany have worked hard on the elementary school dance. They're upset when they learn their family is too busy to come. Kristy solves the problem with an impromptu dance party. Just kidding. Kristy tells the kids to write a letter to their family members, letting them know how they feel. I'm surprised it took them so long to realize they should actually talk to their family members about the problem. It works! The family members cancel their plans and make a surprise appearance at the dance. Everyone has a ton of fun. The middle school dance is also a big success, not at all awkward like my middle school dances were. Some readers didn't like how the middle school dance and the kid dance are back to back. It's true, those stories are too similar, they should have been separated. But I actually kind of like the similarities. It's funny to see the big kids act like the little kids without realizing it. The end. Post-book follow-up. I enjoyed this book a lot, so I was surprised to see it has terrible reviews. I suppose it's below average when you compare it to the earlier books in the series, but when you compare it to some of the stinkers we've had lately, this one is great. It's like rating an episode of a sitcom. The humor is the best part of the book. The jokes are consistently good. I didn't think anything was laugh-out-loud hilarious, but I appreciate jokes that regularly hit the mark. The subplot about Kristy's date was particularly funny. I liked how the book has multiple storylines, and all of them work fine. The author's note says they came up with the title before they came up with the storyline. It kind of shows. These are all stories we've seen before, like Disaster Date, Prank War, and Planning a Big Event. Even though they're reused stories, I think centering the book around Shannon keeps things fresh, because we honestly have not seen much of her in the Babysitter's Club. There are multiple chapters with time jumps, like we see the end of Kristy's date before jumping to the beginning of the date. The same thing happens when the prank war ends and when the kids write the letter to their parents. I didn't think it was necessary, it actually confused me a little. Overall, I like the book. I would enjoy more sitcom-style books like this one. It looks like we're gonna get several books about big fights in the near future, so maybe this book's premise was more popular than the internet gives it credit for. So forget the haters! I'm giving Babysitter's Club number 112, Kristy and the Sister War, a 9 out of 10.